secret power of enthusiasm in Napoleon Hill's most underrated law. What if I told you that the real reason your goals feel heavy isn't because you lack time, talent, or intelligence, but because you're missing emotional voltage? That invisible fire. That inner fuel. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack a plan. They fail because they approach life emotionally cold, flat, disconnected. And here's the plot twist. The single most powerful force behind every success story you admire is the one you probably ignore. Napoleon Hill called it enthusiasm, but not the loud, fake kind. He was talking about a trained emotional force, calculated, sustained, and contagious. In fact, he believed that enthusiasm was the hidden gear behind Think and Grow Rich, the secret multiplier behind discipline, imagination, faith, and even charisma. Without it, you might have the blueprint but no fire to build. And no one is talking about this because they think enthusiasm is optional. It's not. It's foundational. So in this video you're going to discover how this one principle silently powers the entire system of success, and how to develop it like a skill. You'll learn how to activate it on demand, protect it from negativity, and use it to influence others without manipulation. If you've been feeling stuck, burnt out, or just invisible, this might be the breakthrough you didn't know you needed. Let's light that fire and make it unstoppable. The essence of enthusiasm. What is it and why it matters? Some people chase success like it's a mystery hidden in complicated systems or secret clubs. But what if the real spark, the thing that ignites it all, is something we often overlook? That's what Napoleon Hill discovered when he called enthusiasm the emotional gasoline behind achievement. Think about it. A lifeless voice never sparked a movement, and a dull presence never rallied a team. Real transformation begins with a flame, and that flame is enthusiasm. When you bring genuine excitement to your goals, you activate your subconscious mind in ways most people don't understand. This is where subconscious mind training kicks in. Your inner world starts working for you, not against you. Every task you touch becomes lighter, every plan clearer, and every obstacle just another fuel source. It's the emotional energy that turns your daily routine into a motivation daily routine. Your morning coffee becomes a morning energy ritual. The energy isn't just felt, it's transferred. And here's the magic. People can feel it. You walk into a room and heads turn, not because you said something brilliant yet, but because you're alive. Enthusiasm is what builds charisma naturally. It's what makes you memorable in conversations, contagious in meetings, and magnetic in leadership. No expensive suit or business card can replace the emotional impact of someone radiating pure drive. But the key isn't just having enthusiasm, it's learning how to control it. Developing controlled enthusiasm. 11-step growth path. Napoleon Hill made something very clear in Think and Grow Rich. Enthusiasm without direction is like a sports car with no steering wheel, fast, exciting, but bound for a crash. That's why he developed what we now call controlled enthusiasm. It's not about suppressing your energy, it's about aiming it like a laser. Many people start projects with fire but fizzle out in weeks. Why? Because they never built a system. Hill's 11-step method transforms emotional spikes into a stable flame that fuels personal development daily. The first step is purpose. And not just any vague idea like, I want to succeed. You need a clearly defined, emotionally charged goal. Write it down. Make it visual. Post it on your mirror. Earn $10,000 per month helping women over 40 rediscover their confidence. Now that's something the subconscious can grab onto. It becomes a magnet. And from that magnet, every action gains clarity and urgency. That's the first command to your subconscious mind training. Once the goal is in place, you write a plan. Think of it as the skeleton your energy will move through. Without structure, enthusiasm burns out or spills into areas that don't matter. You act immediately, no perfect timing, just motion. That's where momentum lives. And you persist consistently even when it's boring. Enthusiasm, when tied to routine, becomes part of your motivation daily routine. Not every step will feel exciting, but the mission keeps the fire alive. But life doesn't follow scripts. That's why step 6 is all about flexibility. Plans fail, people change, obstacles surprise you. And if you're rigid, your energy turns into frustration. Hill says adapt, don't abandon. Adjust course, learn, re-engage. Controlled enthusiasm is not blind optimism. It's intelligent faith. When needed, tweak your plan and stay emotionally committed. This is how emotional energy habits are formed, by choosing purpose over perfection. Now here's where people often fall: isolation. Step 7 urges you to enlist allies who believe in your vision. The mastermind principle comes in here. Surround yourself with others who feed your fire instead of watering it down. Weekly check-ins, accountability calls, shared goals. You're not building alone. And when doubt hits, their certainty carries you. It's a boost most lone wolves never get. That's the power of Napoleon Hill's mastermind applied with enthusiasm. To protect your momentum, Hill warns about emotional saboteurs. That's step 8. Eliminate negativity. From gossip, toxic news, or even your own inner critic, cut the cord. If you constantly feed your mind garbage, don't be surprised when it smells like fear. Create boundaries. Say no more often. Focus on uplifting input. Build charisma naturally by keeping your emotional environment clean. People will notice that your energy doesn't dip with the room, you command it. And here's the glue that holds it all: repetition. Steps 9, 10, and 11 involve reinforcing your purpose daily through autosuggestion, repeating it with emotion, and guarding your mental state like treasure. Think of it as brushing your mental teeth. You wouldn't skip hygiene, so don't skip belief. Every morning, repeat your goals. Visualize them. Speak them aloud with intensity. That's subconscious mind training in action, and it sets the stage for the next secret ingredient Hill reveals. Practical strategies, enthusiasm boosters. Sometimes we wait for enthusiasm to show up like a surprise guest, hoping it'll knock on our door when we need it most. But Napoleon Hill teaches that enthusiasm doesn't have to be spontaneous. It can be created. Yes, created. Just like brushing your teeth, you can train your emotional energy to respond on command. One of the simplest tricks? Act enthusiastic even when you're not. Stand taller. Speak with intention. Smile like you mean it. The mind follows the body's lead. Let's make it even simpler. Set up a daily ritual that primes your state. A morning energy ritual doesn't need incense and chants. It just needs intention. For example, 5 deep breaths, your top 3 goals spoken aloud, a short walk, and 1 energizing task first thing. When your body moves and your voice affirms, your subconscious wakes up. It starts to say, we're doing success again today. That's subconscious mind training 101. Another powerful tool Hill recommends? Keeping an enthusiasm log. Sound odd? Think of it like a mood journal, but for motivation. Each time you feel pumped, write down what caused it. Was it a song? A conversation? A small win? Over time, you'll have your own personalized formula. On low days, instead of guessing, you simply revisit your log and repeat what works. This is how emotional energy habits are built with precision, not chance. Need a quick win? Tackle a can-do task. This isn't about completing the hardest thing on your to-do list. It's about completing something small that aligns with your greater goal. Something achievable that creates momentum. For example, if you're building a personal brand, record a 60-second video tip. Done. When logged, energy spiked. It feeds your motivation daily routine. And guess what? Your enthusiasm snowballs from there. Music also plays a surprising role. Hill didn't write about playlists, but he understood energy psychology before it had a name. Create a power playlist. Songs that spark confidence, presence, and clarity. Use it before sales calls, creative sessions, workouts, any situation that demands high vibration. This becomes part of your success routine. Over time, those songs anchor peak performance into your nervous system. Let's not forget the power of your environment. You can't thrive in a place that drains you. Clean your workspace. Add color. Remove clutter. Put a quote on the wall, maybe even one from Think and Grow Rich. Your environment either feeds or fights your enthusiasm. Rearranging your desk might seem small, but it signals to your brain that you're serious about success. That's how personal development becomes visible. And here's the real kicker. When you stack these boosters together, physical movement, autosuggestion, music, and quick wins, you create a success ecosystem. An internal network that supports high-energy thinking. You no longer depend on motivation to show up. You summon it. And this is the hidden foundation most people miss before they ever try to inspire others. Which brings us to the next level. Sharing that fire with the people around you. Sharing the spark. Enthusiasm in leadership and collaboration. Enthusiasm, when held tightly, can warm a soul. But when shared, it sets entire rooms ablaze. That's the principle Napoleon Hill emphasized in his mastermind philosophy. When one person leads with true, contagious energy, Others begin to mirror it, subconsciously aligning their emotional frequency. In a team, this is powerful. A leader who speaks with fire awakens that same fire in others. It's less about being loud and more about being lit from within. People follow energy before they follow instructions. That's why enthusiasm in leadership is more than motivational fluff. It's strategic psychology. Imagine two coaches. One barks orders with zero passion. The other believes so deeply in the mission that every word carries conviction. Who do you think the team rallies behind? In both sales and service, enthusiasm builds charisma naturally. It becomes the unseen advantage in negotiations, presentations, and team building. But sharing enthusiasm isn't about being a cheerleader, it's about transferring belief. Belief that the goal matters. Belief that the team is capable. Belief that every effort moves the needle. And when you lead this way, your influence multiplies. Napoleon Hill understood this when he wrote about emotional energy habits. Patterns of thought that spill from one person to another like electricity across wires. And yes, belief is just as contagious as fear. Here's a powerful application. When correcting someone, don't kill their fire. Many leaders sabotage momentum with criticism that deflates. Instead, Hill advises you to ask guiding questions. How do you think that went? Or, what would you do differently next time? These spark reflection without draining energy. It builds self-discipline without shame. This is emotional energy management, coaching without crushing. In collaborations, this same principle applies. Before a meeting, take a moment to calibrate your energy. Visualize success, breathe deeply, speak your intention aloud. These subconscious mind training habits set the emotional tone before you say a word. Walk in with posture. Make eye contact. People won't remember every word you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel. That's the power of enthusiasm when used with intent. One great example? Hill himself. As he interviewed industrial giants for Think and Grow Rich, he wasn't just gathering facts, he was transferring energy. Andrew Carnegie didn't open up because of clever questions. He opened up because Hill radiated conviction, curiosity, and drive. That enthusiasm built trust. That trust opened doors. That's how energy psychology meets personal development in real life. And once you learn to lead with enthusiasm, whether as a parent, a coach, a manager, or a friend, you realize it's not just about moving people. It's about lifting them. And the moment you see someone else light up because of your fire, you'll never go back to being neutral again. Because from here, we start to see how this principle has literally changed lives across history. Real-world impact and life-changing examples. It's one thing to talk about enthusiasm in theory, but when you see it change lives, it hits differently. Napoleon Hill didn't just study this principle, he lived it. One of the earliest examples was his stepmother. When everyone else labeled him a troublemaker, she saw something different. She treated him as if he was already intelligent and capable. That emotional investment, that belief, lit a spark in him. A single person's enthusiasm redirected an entire destiny. Now imagine if she hadn't. No Think and Grow Rich. No Napoleon Hill motivation. No blueprint for personal development that's still transforming lives a century later. That's the hidden power of encouragement driven by genuine enthusiasm. It activates the subconscious mind in others, helping them believe in what they cannot yet see. It's emotional energy habits passed from one soul to another, without a single self-help book in sight. Pure human influence. Another great example? Winston Churchill. As a young boy, he struggled in school. Labeled lazy, disinterested. But something shifted when he found subjects that stirred his soul: history, politics, leadership. His enthusiasm turned boredom into brilliance. That's what Hill refers to when he talks about enthusiasm transforming obstacles. It's not the world that changed, it's the emotional state he brought to it. And suddenly, effort felt purposeful. We see this everywhere. The once shy artist who discovers their voice on stage. The single mom who turns her passion for nutrition into a business. The retiree who learns digital marketing and makes six figures helping others. What ties them together? They weren't born confident. They cultivated enthusiasm. They created a new emotional default that aligned with their goals. They built their charisma naturally, and it made them unstoppable. Hill believed that stories like these weren't random. They were repeatable. That's why he created his entire philosophy, not just to inspire but to instruct. He decoded what worked, why it worked, and how others could apply it. And time after time, the catalyst was enthusiasm. Not hype, not hustle, but a genuine emotional alignment with purpose. And when that happens, even the hardest path becomes walkable. But we must also remember, enthusiasm isn't loud. Some of the most powerful people lead quietly, with deep certainty. Think of Nelson Mandela or Eleanor Roosevelt. They didn't scream, but their presence carried energy, conviction, and warmth. That's enthusiasm matured. It's success rooted in self-awareness. It's subconscious mind training expressed through calm leadership. And that, too, can be developed over time. These examples prove something critical. Enthusiasm is not a personality trait, it's a discipline, a learnable skill, a strategic advantage. It doesn't matter your background, age, or education. What matters is what you bring emotionally to the table every day. Because once you understand how this emotional fire rewires your brain and reshapes your world, you'll want to explore where it comes from in the first place. Deeper psychological roots. At the core of enthusiasm lies something deeper than emotion. It's wiring. Napoleon Hill often hinted at this in Think and Grow Rich, especially when discussing the subconscious mind. He explained that enthusiasm is one of the few emotions powerful enough to bypass logic and go straight into subconscious programming. Every time you act or speak with conviction, you're embedding belief. It's like writing success instructions directly into your brain's operating system. And over time, those instructions begin to run automatically. Here's how it works. Your brain forms neural pathways based on repetition and intensity. That means if you repeat your goals while feeling emotionally flat, the impact is minimal. But if you say them with energy, visualizing, affirming, feeling, your brain lights up. This is subconscious mind training in its purest form. You're reinforcing identity through emotion. Eventually, the person who once doubted begins acting like someone who expects to win. That shift changes everything. Now let's go deeper. Enthusiasm doesn't just fuel belief, it activates creativity. Hill taught that the imaginative faculty becomes most active under the influence of high emotion. When you're enthusiastic, your mind starts connecting dots others miss. Ideas come faster. Solutions appear where there were only problems. Your conversations flow. Your presence expands. This isn't magic, it's energy psychology at work. Emotional charge wakes up mental clarity. There's also the feedback loop. When you act with enthusiasm, you often get better responses. People smile, say yes, lean in. That positive reaction feeds your energy, which increases your effort, which produces more results. This loop creates a self-fulfilling cycle. Hill described it as a spiral of increasing returns. One good act fuels another, and success becomes not just possible, but expected. This is how motivation daily routine becomes effortless momentum. But here's the twist, the loop can run in reverse. If you start the day low energy, expect rejection, and hesitate, guess what? You get friction. That confirms your fear. You hold back more. This is why cultivating emotional energy habits matters. You must choose daily to enter the upward spiral. Even when life throws static, your job is to retune your inner frequency. Just like Hill said, faith and enthusiasm combined become an unstoppable force. Let's look at practical training. Try starting your day with a trigger phrase, something like, "Let's light it up today." Combine that with movement, stretching, walking, clapping. Say your goals out loud. Visualize someone you admire watching you. These small actions fire up emotional circuits. They tell your brain, we're in charge. This isn't fake positivity, it's emotional conditioning. Over time, the effect compounds and success begins to feel natural. And as you master these internal mechanics, you begin to see enthusiasm not as a personality quirk, but as a psychological tool. Something you can wield at will, like a sculptor with a chisel. You understand that your energy doesn't just color your day, it shapes your future. And this is why Napoleon Hill placed enthusiasm alongside the other great laws. To see exactly where it fits, we need to look at the broader framework of his teachings. Situating enthusiasm within Hill's broader framework. In The Law of Success and later in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill didn't place enthusiasm on a pedestal alone, he embedded it deep into the entire philosophy of success. It's not just one law among many. It's the activator, the catalyst. Think of enthusiasm as the match that lights the furnace of purpose, faith, imagination, and initiative. Without it, the other principles stay cold. They remain theory. With it, they become fire. They move mountains. Hill organized his framework around core principles: definiteness of purpose, applied faith, initiative, and so on. But what gives these principles momentum is enthusiasm. He even compared it to steam that powers a train. You could have the strongest locomotive, the finest rails, and the clearest destination, but without steam, nothing moves. Enthusiasm is what turns ideas into action and plans into progress. It's the invisible fuel behind the visible effort. This becomes even more relevant in today's world, where information is everywhere but transformation is rare. Everyone has access to strategies, tips, and content, but few succeed. Why? Because few people engage those tools with emotional energy. Hill understood that knowledge alone isn't power. Applied knowledge, driven by enthusiasm, is what changes lives. That's where subconscious mind training, motivation daily routine, and emotional energy habits find their place in the system. Think about it like a machine. Purpose is the blueprint. Faith is the ignition key. Imagination is the design studio. Action is the engine. But enthusiasm? Enthusiasm is the voltage running through the entire system. Without it, you have parts that never move. With it, you create flow. You generate forward motion. That's why Hill called it one of the most underrated yet essential components of the success formula. Even the most practical tools in Hill's system, like decision-making, persistence, and the mastermind, become amplified when charged with enthusiasm. You say yes faster. You quit slower. You collaborate deeper. That emotional intensity elevates your commitment and makes the journey feel less like work and more like purpose. Personal development without enthusiasm is mechanical. With it, it becomes magnetic. What's powerful is that Hill didn't leave this to chance. He laid out specific ways to spark and protect enthusiasm. Reading aloud your definite purpose daily, associating with high-energy thinkers, controlling your inner dialogue, and maintaining peak environments. These weren't just suggestions. They were habits designed to keep your flame alive, especially when setbacks come. Because they always do. But with emotional fuel, you keep going. And now, as we've seen enthusiasm woven into every major piece of Hill's system, it's time to visualize this connection. To see how each principle branches out and ties back into this single force. What if we could lay it all out, like a map of energy and influence? In the next segment, we'll break it down in a way that makes everything click. Visual and conceptual tree diagram overview. Let's bring it all together. Imagine a tree, not just any tree but your success tree. At the root, we have definiteness of purpose. The soil is your belief system. The trunk is your daily action. But what gives this tree its life force? Enthusiasm. It's the sunlight, the nutrients, the water. Without it, nothing grows. With it, everything flourishes. And that's exactly how Napoleon Hill envisioned enthusiasm, quietly nourishing every branch of your personal development. Start with the foundation, the definition of enthusiasm. It's not hype. It's a deep emotional state that energizes thought and action. It activates the subconscious mind and fuels momentum. When you wake up with clarity, speak with power, and walk into rooms with intention, that's enthusiasm in motion. And when applied daily, it becomes part of your success identity. It's no longer something you do. It's who you are becoming. Next comes the process of controlled development. Hill's 11-step formula isn't just a checklist, it's a system. Each step, goal clarity, plan creation, autosuggestion, emotional reinforcement, acts like pruning and watering the tree. These aren't scattered tactics. They're strategic rituals. Every day you follow them, you direct your emotional energy with precision. This is how emotional energy habits are created, not by accident but by design. Then we add the boosters. These are the quick tools: your enthusiasm log, morning rituals, power playlists, energizing microtasks. Think of them as sunlight bursts when clouds try to creep in. They're simple but effective. When you stack them daily, your energy doesn't depend on how you feel, it depends on how you train. That's subconscious mind training in action, anchoring your emotions to your success vision. Climbing higher, we reach the leadership layer. Enthusiasm in leadership isn't loud, it's consistent. It inspires trust. It uplifts through correction. It builds belief in teams. Hill's mastermind principle lives here, one person's energy becoming everyone's momentum. Whether you're a parent, a mentor, or a manager, you become the thermostat for the emotional climate. Your energy sets the tone, and that tone drives the outcome. The psychological roots run even deeper. Enthusiasm impacts memory, creativity, decision-making. It shapes identity through neural repetition. Every repetition becomes reinforcement. Every reinforcement becomes transformation. Over time, your brain starts expecting success, not fearing failure. That's why the right daily language, visualization, and posture can literally rewire how you think and feel. It's energy psychology with real-life application. And finally, when we zoom out, we see how enthusiasm connects to every other law, like an unseen thread holding the whole system together. From faith to imagination, persistence to initiative, enthusiasm brings movement, color, and emotion to each piece. This tree of success isn't grown through strategy alone, but through energy, belief, and emotional clarity. Which brings us to the real point of it all: how will you apply this to your life starting today? The secret power of enthusiasm. Now that you understand the secret force behind success, the power that fuels confidence, discipline, influence, and even your subconscious, let me ask you something: how have you been treating your enthusiasm? Are you cultivating it daily? Or have you been hoping it would just show up when life gets better? Because here's the truth: life doesn't get better before enthusiasm, it gets better because of it. And the ones who rise, lead, and transform are the ones who decide to generate their own fire, no matter the weather. What small change could you make starting today? Could you begin your mornings with energy rituals? Could you speak your goals with more conviction? Could you stop waiting for motivation and instead train it like a skill? You already have everything inside you to shift your emotional state and create momentum. The only question is, will you use it? Or will you keep treating this force like it's just extra, when in fact it's everything? So here's your challenge: apply at least one booster from today's video in the next 24 hours. Come back and tell me in the comments what changed for you. Did you feel different? Did people respond differently? Let's build this energy together. And if you found this powerful, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and join this movement. Because every week we bring you deeper truths that unlock the life most people only dream about.